daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Daily Manchester United podcast. My name is Cormac, back hosting again for the first time in a long while, and today I'm joined by Toluwa. Toluwa, how are we doing?
I'm good. Nigeria won today, so we're one step closer to World Cup qualification, man.
There you go. I wish my Ireland would get that magic going. But Toluwa, it's been a while since I chatted to you. First off, just want to hear your thoughts on how the season's gone so far, in your opinion.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of gone how I expected it to. I feel like a couple of results that we've had could have gone our way, and we would have been in a better position, honestly. I think some of the play that we've seen from United has warranted a little bit more than just being in 10th place before the Liverpool game. But considering that we've had the toughest start to the season, I can't be too mad. I feel like if we had beaten Fulham and if we had been a little bit better against Brentford, maybe a little luckier, the narrative would just be so different. But I'm encouraged by what I see for the most part. And I think obviously playing once a week has been pretty beneficial.
No, absolutely. Yeah, and I agree with you. It's been kind of small margins. I touched on it yesterday with Kieran, but I thought we should have won that Arsenal match. We started off the season there 3 points in Fulham as well. I thought we could have won that definitely. So you're looking at, 2 wins from 2, carry on momentum. But yeah, no, I think it has been what most of us been expected. I don't think really, even though we brought in the new signings, we were going to be, top of the league right now. Yeah. But, a good thing I was saying with Kieran as well, that as you said, once a week we're playing. We don't have Europe. We're unfortunately out of the League Cup after that disastrous Grimsby Town game. And then we'll have the FA Cup coming up in the new year. But going back to the signings I mentioned, how impressed have you been with our new signings?
Yeah, I think collectively they've been solid. I'm really liking what I see from Mbeumo and Cunha. They just give us so much more composure than what we had previously. And I can tell that they're just the type of players to put their head down. Like, they just want to do what's best for the club. I know they're still adjusting, so we have to still give them a little bit of time to adjust to the pressure of United as well. Sesco, I thought, has been pretty good. I like his hold-up play. I think he gives us a lot more now. I was a fan of Højlund. I didn't necessarily agree with us letting him go, but to get someone like Sesco, who in the Premier League, I feel like his physical attributes are better and they suit this league better than Højlund. Obviously, getting a couple goals so far is great for the confidence and also just for the team, because they now know that they can actually have a focal point up top who is a little bit more clinical than previous strikers that we've had. And then the goalkeeper, Senne Lammens, just a good debut from him. Like, to be honest, I wasn't worried at all the entire time against Sunderland, even when they had some late chances, just because he looks so confident. And his shot stopping, there was a stat that I saw before he joined the club that he had saved the most shots out of any keeper in all of the top 10 leagues in Europe. And people were saying, the level of competition, of course he's going to save, but like against Sunderland, he was making the saves look comfortable, and they weren't. They were difficult saves. So I'm just glad that we finally have somebody back there who is confident, and that'll help the rest of the team feel confident. Because as we know, the keepers we had before,
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. It's such a nice feeling now to have, a reliable, comfortable keeper and goal. We're not going in every game worrying will our keepers make a mistake, because most matches they probably were at least making one. But no, I am Mbeumo, huge fan of him. I think kind of knew what he was getting from Brentford. He's just continued on with that and signing, Cunha as well. Thought he started the season brilliantly, and then he had that injury, which I think is tailored him off a little bit, but he's still a great player. And Sesco, he's there in the right place, the right time, and that's what you want from the striker, getting goals. To touch on another striker we could have got in the summer, Giacquez, I'll read this quote I seen from the United report via Sportsmall, and this came from Victor Giacquez's agent, Hassan Chetinkaya. Hope I said that right. But he said they, Sporting Lisbon, had concluded a deal with Manchester United behind our backs. That was a problem. United offered a higher transfer fee. If Hugo Viana, the old sporting director, I believe he's at City now, was still there, the deal would have been done within an hour. So it seems like, if different personnel were in different spots, we could have easily had Giacquez would you have taken Giacquez over Sesco still, or you kind of still stay with Sesco?
To be honest with you, I can't go back on my word because I was telling a couple of my coworkers before Gyökeres was even linked to any of the big teams, and he was scoring all of those goals. I was telling my coworker, like, this dude is not that good. Like, he's good, but he's not going to be Premier League just elite right away. And I still stand by that. I've seen what he's done for Arsenal. Good hold up play. I can tell he likes to get into space, but in the Premier League, when you're playing for Arsenal, teams are just going to set off. You're never going to get that space in behind. So I personally, I'm glad that we have Sesco instead. I think Sesco gives us more in terms of he can run into the space, move into the channels, but he can also hold the ball up. He can link up play. Gyökeres can do those things, but I feel like he's playing on a team where the players around him are just far more technical. Our players are not as technical, so a lot of the impetus is on Sesco when he gets the ball to lay it off. Gyökeres doesn't really have too much of that responsibility, you know. So I think if he was to play for United, oh my gosh, he would look awful, and everybody would just be saying, "Oh my gosh, this guy was a waste of money." But what do you think, honestly?
Yeah, no, you made a good point about, the Premier League being different, because I think, a lot of people seen him playing for Sporting Lisbon, particularly that Man City game,
Yeah.
where they were playing defensive, and on the counter, he was just, tearing them apart. I think he scored a hat-trick that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Premier League's not going to be like that. I think he thrives kind of in that system. The only thing I was thinking, like, he has that connection with Ruben Amorim, like,
Yeah.
he knows him well. That was the only thing, I think, back in the summer that was leaning me towards going with Giacquez, but we've seen them both enough now, and I'd agree with him. I'm happy with Sesco now. I think Giacquez wouldn't really fit as much as Sesco's doing, linking up, quite well with the players underneath him. So yeah, I'm happy with him. But I mean, I would have taken Giacquez, but I'm glad we got Sesco. Moving on to now, a United player who's been in the news about loan. According to EPL Index and Tyrone Johnson, Napoli are potentially preparing an offer to take Kobbie Mainoo on loan in the January window. What are your thoughts on that?
That one's interesting. I mean, it seems like Napoli is going to become our feeder club now because they just keep taking all of our players. I mean, personally, I don't see why, and maybe I'm tripping. I don't see why Menu should leave the club. I don't see why he doesn't just fight for his place. And I know Emera made those comments earlier in the season saying, he's basically in rivalry with Bruno. And that's, to me, that is 50-50. It's a bit unfair to Kobbie, but also should spur him on to want to just be in the team no matter what. And obviously the midfield partner of Ugarte or Casemiro, everybody is saying, why is Menu not in that position? And I think it goes a little bit deeper than that because we want Menu to be going forward. I don't really want to see Menu sit back and defend. And it's like, do you take out Bruno to put in Menu, or do you take out Cunha, or do you take out Mount just to put him at the 10? Like, it doesn't make sense. And I know he wants to play because it's a World Cup year, so it's tricky. But if we were to give him to Napoli, we better have 2 or 3 midfield replacements already at the club because it would make no sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, Napoli, they've had, McTominay's clearly worked out. Højlund's been bagging in the goals. So it seems like, they can take the players not working for us at the moment and turn them into, great players. So I don't blame them for trying to get Kobi Menuh. You touched on, he needs to be playing football for the World Cup here. It came out a few days ago that England under-21 manager Lee Kersley said he'd welcome Menuh back in the under-21s. If you were Kobi Menuh, what would you go back? He's obviously a proven player with the senior national team playing in the Euros and all that, but would you drop down with under-21s just to get game time or not?
I don't want to sound prideful because football, getting playing time is getting playing time, but he's too good for that level. Like, he's already shown that he can be consistent for the national team, the main national team. And it would just be kind of an insult, I think, to his talent and his work rate, because I'm sure he's working hard behind the scenes. And Tuchel, let's be fair, Tuchel's not making it easy for a lot of players. His selections have been pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to answer your question, if I was Menu, I would just keep working hard. To go back down to that level and to play well in that level doesn't really show much. I think it just shows the talent that he already has, but it doesn't tell me that, okay, he's good enough to bench whoever's starting in England's midfield for the World Cup. That's just me, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see what he does because, I kind of, if I was in that position, it would be a bit of a hit to my self-esteem, having to go back there after being away from that setup so long and in with the first team. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does. We'll go for a quick break now and we'll be back then with more United talk.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Your body is unique, and Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bionique, the world's most personalised supplements. Bionique provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimise your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bionique. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now. Your body is unique, and Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered
with your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
So Harry Maguire has been in the news the last few days. His contract's obviously up in the summer, and they're saying that he's very close to a new deal. What are your thoughts of that? Would you like to keep Maguire around still, or do you think it's time for him to just go?
Man, I just don't know how this guy keeps finessing this football club. I just don't get it. And when Harry Maguire first joined the club, I won't sit here and act like I wasn't excited. It seemed like we had finally gotten a new center back that had aerial presence, who was good with the ball at his feet. But ever since then, it's just not been the case. I don't know what it is. And I think last season, Harry Maguire was really saved by a lot of those late goals he scored, the headers. Even with Ten Hag, I remember when we played Porto in the Europa League, he made it 3-3. And I can't lie, I was over the moon. But I've always told myself I cannot excuse the overall performance just for these late winners, these moments. Like, I want to see a consistent center back that can give a 7 out of 10 every game. And for me, Maguire just isn't that guy. And if we sign him on for another year, just a 1-year extension, I won't be mad at that because, we still need bodies. We're still kind of a bare bones team. But if there's no other reason that we're signing him, why not just let him go? We're going to take the loss on him anyway because we paid how much for him? Like 80 million.
80, yeah.
Nobody's paying that. No, nobody's even going to pay, I think, 20 million. So, but for me, if I was in charge, I'd be like, I'm sorry, Harry, this is your last year. It's time for us to move on. I think the culture is moving on from whatever Harry brings, Luke Shaw, like those type of players. I think it's time for us to really move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'd be on the same page as you. As a 1-year deal, I think I'd like to see. I think one of the things that I think has kept Maguire around so long is the fact that he's a leader in the dressing room. Yeah. And we've had a lot of young players obviously coming through, used as kind of a role model for them. And to be fair to Maguire, he has been a great professional throughout his United career, all the flack he's taken. Yeah. But, then again, he's probably on massive wages and, for a player that's not really going to be starting for us, is it really worth keeping him that long if he's just, used as a backup on, huge wages? So I imagine we'll get a deal done. I could see a 2-year deal happening, to be honest. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. You touched on Luke Shaw there. A player maybe some of us thought might have been playing in that position start of the season is Ayden Heaven, and unfortunately he picked up an injury on England under 20 duty this week. It's not reported to be that serious, but what are your thoughts on Ayden Heaven? Do you think he should have been playing a lot more? Because obviously that towards the end of last season, I thought he looked great and he was playing a lot for United.
I agree. Especially, I think the one game in particular, I think it was the Aston Villa game with the last game of the season, where I thought he just looked like right at home. Like he had always been playing for us. Preseason even, he looked great. Still young, so there's still that room for growth and improvement. But I think he's ready to play against certain opposition in the Premier League. I don't know particularly why Emerim hasn't tried him at least. He did against Grimsby, and obviously that game, to me, that game was just a one-off. I don't think any of the players were really up for it, thinking that they could just get by Grimsby. In the Premier League, though, I mean, he's a good player. I think he's shown that he can withstand the pressure playing against the big teams as well. He played against Arsenal, I think was his first game in the senior team, and he was great. Um, I don't know. I feel like, Emerim likes experience, and I can tell by his selections, especially against Brentford where he didn't start Euro. I can tell he just likes experience. But Heaven should have no problem getting into the team. When Lissandro Martinez comes back, I think it'll be interesting to see if Heaven will become the center back, or if Luke Shaw will become like an extra left wing back. I'm not sure. I don't think Luke Shaw has the legs for that. So maybe Heaven will just. I think Heaven might occupy center back, but I like him. I hope his injury, like you said, isn't too serious, and we can have him ready and available for the upcoming games. Especially Liverpool, I don't think he was ever gonna play, but a game like Brighton or subsequent games, he can be influential. I think his pace is good, ball control, all of that. So I like Heaven. I think he's one for the future for us for sure. We should build around him and some of the other younger guys we have at the team.
Definitely, yeah, and I think a staple for a great backline there. If you have him, and obviously you mentioned Lenny Yoro, two young guys, so I think both of them have been doing a job at United. And you spoke about Luke Shaw. Doesn't look like left wing back at all, and I think that's kind of being confirmed with how Dallow's been moved into that role a lot now, taking that spot. Some games from Patrick Dorgu, who scored a lovely goal for Denmark the other day against Belarus, which I don't think he's really shown enough attacking prowess like that for United. But what's your thoughts on having, do you mind having Dalot on that left wing back position, or would you rather just keep a left footer like Dorgu and have Dalot on the right?
I think Dalot is just, I don't know, man. He just frustrates me so much because I wanna back him because I know how good he can be as a fullback, but as a wing back, he's just not the same. I think when you ask Dalot to actually be more responsible for whipping balls into the box, his final third production, it's not that good. When he's more of a 50-50 attack defend, he shines because he has good recovery pace and all of that. Putting him onto the left, though, has actually yielded some success. I think just because of the way he can retain possession, but he gives the ball away a lot. And then when I think to Dorgu has so much physical prowess. But like you said, just in the final third, something is not clicking. His crossing isn't good enough. He gets into the right positions, but that end product, is not good. But he's still young. I know we always try to give them the benefit of the doubt because they're still developing. And he was thrown into a situation at United where we didn't have a left wing back. He was the only person who could play, so he was just playing. And he came from a league that is considerably different to the Premier League. So I'm okay with Dorgu as left wing back. If there's nobody else to play, I mean, if Dalot has to play, then so be it, because this is the situation the club is in. Luke Shaw, I don't even want to see at left wing back. There's no way. If Dalot can't play right wing back, there's no way Luke Shaw can play left wing back, in my opinion. There's no way.
Yeah, no, and I think most of this, switch and changing occurs from Ahmad having to play right wing back, and it's tough because obviously Evan Buemo up there on the right, and then you have Mount become very favourable under Amorim, and you have Cunha there. So it's kind of tough, you think, for Ahmad to kind of push up the pitch, and he's such a great player that he kind of, in a way, has to start. But I would like to. I think Dorgu, left foot, as you said, he gets in the positions, but if he could just get that, final third crossing, even his shooting better, he'd be a real problem down that left side. And I think he just edges for me for Dalot in terms of starting. I would like to see Dorgu just kind of more establish that left wing spot, and Dalot maybe use as a rotational player. But yeah, Dorgu's still young and plenty of time to grow. And then final piece I seen was, this is according to the Manchester Evening News and Stephen Killen. Bruno has come out and said he didn't close the door to a Saudi move. Do you see a Saudi move happening soon, potentially?
If not this summer, then definitely the summer after. I think it's interesting because I'm of the impression that Bruno Fernandes would stay at the club until he retires. He just seems like that type of guy. But in this current situation that the club finds himself in, it seems like taking that money would just help the club more than, I guess, Bruno staying on until, he decides to call it quits. And if, like I said, if it's not this summer, then it has to be next summer. I think we should cash in at some point because he's 31 now, if I'm
Yeah, I
not
believe
mistaken.
so. Yeah.
And I think he can still do a job for the next 2-3 seasons. If it was up to me, I'd keep him forever. I wouldn't let him go. But I understand the sentiment of, we have to try and recuperate some funds, get some money. To me, obviously, and I'm sure to a lot of United fans, best player by a country mile, has been for years. So I guess I can see both sides, but if he himself feels like it's the time to go to Saudi, then man, thank you so much for your service and everything that you've done. I can't stop him from going to make the millions that he deserves. He's a great player, a great professional. He's always given everything for the club, throughout all the criticism, throughout everything. But yeah, I just hope somehow, some way he stays and we can just build something with him. Hopefully, just get him an actual major trophy with United before he retires.
Oh, absolutely. I think, him being club captain, I think he would like to stay for as long as he can. But, and then there's issues as well. We spoke about Mainoo, he's kind of out of the team because Bruno has that position cemented really. So, it'd be interesting to see, do United want to start bringing up more younger players, giving Mainoo time, other players? But yeah, I think Bruno definitely would be around. I don't think he'll leave at all this upcoming summer. World Cup and all. I think he'll just stay, play that, and just stay with United, and then be interesting to see. But I think he can do a job, for another 3-4 years. He's that player, just get him on the ball, and we see it, week in, week out. He can create stuff out of nothing, and he's that perfect player, I think, to feed, Mbeumo, Cunha, Mount, Sesco. So he would be a huge loss for us, but he is getting old, and we have, the new stadium. We have a lot of issues. Jim Ratcliffe's touched on financially, so maybe it might be the right decision down the line to just cash in on him while his value is still high. Final question I'll ask you. I know it's a bit away, but Liverpool match, would you be confident going into that now? Or
honestly, I'm a little bit more confident than I would have been if Liverpool hadn't lost 3 games in a row. I think they're reeling for sure. Like, they're struggling, and I don't think too many people are talking about it. The first how many games of the season that they won were all from 90th minute winners. Like, I know people have talked about it, but nobody's really saying like, hey, Liverpool they're not playing to their best. They lost to Crystal Palace, who are a tough team, don't get me wrong. They lost to Galatasaray, who are not anywhere near the level of Liverpool. So it tells me that something is just not right. Even in the Carabao Cup, I think they played Southampton, barely beat Southampton. And if that was United, we would be, United barely beat this team. They did. But when it's Liverpool, it's, resolve of the champions, this and that. Going into this game, though, I'm thinking Liverpool are going to want to, they're not going to want to lose a 4th game in a row, and let alone to their biggest rival. So they're going to come out and attack. They're going to try and impose that dominance. And I think it will actually suit United because I don't think anybody expected, even Emery or the players, I don't think they expect to go to Liverpool and dominate possession and go toe-to-toe with Liverpool. I think they actually expect to absorb that pressure and release. And because Liverpool are so attacking, they're vulnerable. I think we've seen it in every game they've played that they're susceptible to the counter. They've made errors just like we have. So I think this game actually favors United. I'm not going to give a prediction yet just because I want to see, the fitness closer to the game, see who's available. But if everybody besides Lissandro is available for United and everybody is available for Liverpool, I think we can edge a draw, to be honest with you. I think we can actually sneak a result. The only reason why I say a draw is because, man, Liverpool, no matter how bad they are, they still have the quality. And while I think we're moving away from the errors and the individual mistakes, I still think sometimes quality will shine through. So I'll say a draw for now.
Yeah, no, I think, you made a good point. I have been struggling a lot, and, United beat Burnley 3-2 last minute, and I felt like that was very heavily scrutinised. And then Liverpool got, thanks to Hannibal, a lucky handball just from across and got a penalty last minute to win. And, I think talked about as much, but they're on that losing streak. I think it's a good time to play them. Whether this international break might, help them recuperate Liverpool a bit, we'll wait and see. But yeah, if players are there, I think Lisandro's due to get back at the end of this international break. Might be a bit soon for him to play, but that's another great player right back there for us. And I think it's a good time. I think these kind of matches suit more of Amorim's system a bit better. We went there last year when Lisandro scored. I thought we played quite well. It'd be interesting to see, and I'm sure more of the guys in the podcast will have more to talk about closer to the game. But that wraps it up for today's episode. I want to thank Toluwa for joining me, sharing his thoughts, and we will be back soon again with another episode. And also, any articles I mentioned will be linked in the description, so if you want to check them out yourselves, feel free to do. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.